Hello everyone, and welcome to our weekly podcast brought to you by VJOncology. This week, we will be covering the latest developments in artificial intelligence in the field of oncology so far in 2026, and what it means for clinicians worldwide. To begin, with Eleonora Teplinsky from Valley Health System in Paramus, New Jersey, who discusses a study examining the online information patients receive when inquiring about AI in cancer care, which revealed a scarcity of reliable resources on the internet.
This was a study by Dr. Pearl Subramanian and colleagues, which really asked the question of what information are patients getting online when they ask about AI and cancer care. So not about using AI to, give them information about how to treat their cancer, but what if they want to know what can AI do in cancer care, what information are they getting? And they looked at both Google and YouTube, so Google web pages, YouTube videos. This was not chatbot generated content, but really index web content. And they found really small number of resources, both on Google and YouTube, that address this. And most of the resources were at about a 12th grade reading level, which is higher than the average reading level in America. And most of them did not have good quality information. And notably, less than 20% address the safety risks of AI with hallucination and misinformation. And that's really significant because we need our patients to understand what are the limitations of AI. And this really speaks to the need for broader patient guidelines and content about what AI can do, but also what AI can't do and the potential dangers of AI.
She also comments on the importance of educating patients about the potential risks of using AI for health information, including the possibility of misinformation and hallucination by AI systems.
There are different stakeholders in this AI and cancer conversation. We have clinicians, we have patients, we have industry, we have all these people that are part of the AI conversation. But I think the concern that's really driven by this study is increasingly, patients are using AI for health information. Patients are turning to online resources for information. And so it's important that they understand that when we find that information online, that there's risks that AI could hallucinate, that it could provide misinformation. And so without that education piece, what happens if AI causes harm? And who is responsible for that? And how do we handle potential conflict or discordance between what the clinician is recommending and what AI is recommending, right? And I think it comes down to there's still the art of medicine where we take guidelines and we apply them to each patient. But I think it's this broader question of how does the content that our patients are consuming online impact outcomes? And we have to remember that what comes from generative AI is the prompt that is fed into generative AI. And so how you ask AI impacts what you get. And so if we don't educate the community on this, what you're inputting may impact the output and then ultimately impact cancer outcomes.
Next up, Gil Shamai from the Technion Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa explores the clinical utility of discordances between conventional biomarker assays and deep learning-based histopathology predictions across 6 cancer types.
Well known today that AI models can predict molecular information from images or microscopic images of the tumor, meaning from H&E slide images. Many studies have already been done on this topic. In fact, we already started developing such models 10 years ago. And 2 months ago, one of our studies was published in Lancet Oncology, where we developed a AI model to predict the oncotype score from H&E images and validated it on the Taylor-X randomized trial. Now, although these studies showed better and better performance over the years, this performance reached a limit, meaning that there are always cases where the AI model is wrong or that it doesn't match the molecular assay it intends to predict. For this reason, these models are often viewed today as low-cost, efficient, but inferior surrogates of the gold standard molecular assays, which highly limits them clinically. What we show in our new study here at ASCO is that the mistakes of the AI are not actually random errors. we show that AI learns new information that it was not directly trained to predict. And what happens is that the model doesn't really see the molecular information in the image. It doesn't see the receptors or the gene expression. Instead, it sees the downstream effect of this molecular assay as reflected in the image. For example, a tumor can be ER positive by immunohistochemistry, meaning that it has estrogen receptors, but still irresponsive to estrogen because its ER pathway is inactivated. For example, a tumor can be ER positive by immunohistochemistry, which means it has estrogen receptors, but still irresponsive to estrogen because its ER pathway is inactivated. This means that the tumor may act like an ER negative tumor, which means that it may look like an ER negative tumor. And this is what the AI eventually sees in the H&E image. So the AI predicts it as as ER negative, meaning that the AI doesn't see the receptors. It sees if the tumor is responsive to estrogen. We also showed that these discordances between the AI predictions from H&E images and the molecular assays are biologically meaningful and can be even useful for better guiding clinical decisions.
Following on, Matthew Kurian from St. Elizabeth Healthcare, Edgewood, Kentucky, discusses the impacts of AI on oncology, highlighting its potential to affect patients, trainees, and global practice.
AI is probably one of the fastest growing platforms in oncology, and the proper use of it is something that will need to be discussed and implemented in the future. One of the things that, my talk touches on is to understand exactly how, as an oncologist, this will affect trainees, the next generation, global practice in the world setting as well, and then also looking at how it affects patients, most importantly. So I think if you look at how artificial intelligence can affect all three of these things, I think patients are probably the one that I think it has the largest impact on as well. And that can encompass many different things. That it can range from tools that help with supportive care, other things that touch on artificial intelligence scribes that help improve time with patients from a physician standpoint, and also improving time spent with patients as a result of that. Other things such as early screening, drug discovery, many potential applications that all affect patients over time. In terms of trainees, I think that artificial intelligence and the use of it in oncology specifically is at a critical point in time where we need to understand how artificial intelligence tools are being developed, what data is really going into that, and then how our trainees are utilizing that in their day-to-day life and as they become future oncologists in the future. When we look at the global workforce and how artificial intelligence can affect how care delivery is administered within low to middle income countries, you look at improving screening specifically as well too. And there are many models and some tools that are now available that will help improve screening in areas that have limited resources overall too. That will help improve detection, which will then improve the rates of cancer overall in those countries as well.
Dr. Kurian also comments on how AI can reduce disparities in care and the current state of FDA-approved machine learning devices.
AI has the potential to be able to improve disparities by early detection, and the use of those tools will then translate into improved outcomes and improved screening rates, which will then lead to reduced cancer rates for those low to middle income countries. The challenge, I think, with this is that it requires infrastructure to be able to make those things happen, and it will also require a lot of upfront capital cost to be able to implement those things successfully in a long-term measure as well too. So I think those are probably the main barriers at this point in time, but I think ASCO and many other organizations are committed to being able to help invest those resources along with many other companies to help level the playing field for those experiencing cancer throughout the world. The things that I think are growing and will become more popular over time will be patient monitoring tools using artificial intelligence. And then also tools like open evidence, I think will become very, very, crucial in terms of how our trainees, how our current workforce utilizes those things to help administer better care to patients. The way that I phrase it to individuals is that open evidence and other artificial platforms can elevate the level of care in areas that have struggled to have access to good clinical trials, good specialists as well too, that it can level the playing field and improve the care that's delivered within community practices to the level of those within academic practices as well.
Next up, we have Jay Patel from the Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Cancer Center in North Carolina, who presents expert validation of a novel AI-enabled system using large language model-based decision rules and electronic health records to match patients with cancer to clinical trials.
During this co-development process, really the first phase of this is to validate that platform using real-world data from our own patient records, as well as real cancer trial protocols. And this has really been one of the gaps in prior literature that have mostly focused on synthetic data sets. So we took an opportunity to take thousands of patients within our own health system, develop the model, train the model, use machine learning plus large language models, kind of a hybrid architecture to further train that model, and then test it in a separate independent test set of patients. So the test set of patients focused on individuals with breast cancer, lung cancer, and pancreatic cancer. So we were matching these patients to retrospective clinical trial protocols. In that study, we identified that there was actually 94% agreement or concordance between a clinical research coordinator reviewing the data versus the AI platform. So performing really just as well as the human review. So at different probability thresholds, we then determine that the platform can have upwards of 99% sensitivity and positive predictive performance really upwards of, again, 90% or so, meaning that every 9 out of every 10 patients or so that the AI platform says the individual is eligible for the patient, they truly end up being eligible for that particular clinical trial. The biggest reasons that we're going through this process to advance responsible AI use in healthcare as it relates to clinical research, primarily due to the massive burden that this puts on research coordinators as well as our providers. So number one, our physicians that are seeing several patients throughout the day have limited time and capacity to remember every single clinical trial and the eligibility criteria for that trial. So this really prompts them in real time to identify patients who are matching to those trials during that visit. They can then send that information over to a research coordinator who can review the evidence from the AI platform that points them directly to the areas within the chart that eligibility criteria came from. So with that, we've now seen with our preliminary data, this can save the research coordinators time by at least doubling the amount of patients they can pre-screen. And that's really a conservative estimate. Atrium Health, Advocate Health, we tend to put on about 14,000 cancer patients on trials every year. As of last year, those are our data. And so we expect we can probably double or triple that volume by leveraging kind of human-in-the-loop AI processes to match patients to trials.
Finally, Marie Hanaoka from the Institute of Science Tokyo, Japan, explores how AI-derived surgical quality metrics can be incorporated into robotic surgery training, curricula, and competency assessment frameworks.
First, by reviewing video in which enhance the dissection plane or autonomic nerves, the surgeon can understand why and where they entered the wrong place. So I think it is more effectively by reviewing AI enhanced video than compared with original one. And I think it also makes it easier to compare their dissection with expert surgeons, and they can recognize how different the exposure of the correct plane can be. This is also my own impression from reviewing many of AI-enhanced surgical videos. Second, real-time AI analysis is now available. Although the clinical value still needed to be evaluated. In the future, AI could allow the surgeon when the dissection field is too close to the autonomic nerves. Such a system could encourage the surgeon to improve exposure and maintain a safer, more appropriate dissection plane. So regarding the competency assessment. Japan currently has a technical certification system for surgeons. At present, the evaluation is very subjectively assessed by reviewers. If AI could objectively evaluate the surgical mobilization and dissection quality, it could add more objectively to this system. In addition, AI may be useful in initial screening tool to technical assessment, probably leads to reduce the burden of human reviewers.
She also discusses concerns around data ownership, patient consent, and algorithmic transparency when considering the integration of AI into reproductive surgery.
These issues are essential for the reasonable implementation for AI in surgery. So first, patients should provide informed consent regarding the use of surgical video and data. Second, data must be securely stored and appropriately anonymized. Regarding algorithm transparency, I believe it is essential that AI systems are validated using data from multiple institutions before they are widely adopted in clinical practice. In addition, the safety of real-time AI assistant and its impact on surgeons' work should also be carefully evaluated. We are currently investigating this issue in an ongoing prospective clinical trial. AI should always support, not replace, surgeon clinical decision-making, I think.
Thank you to our speakers and to you for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app, including Apple, Podbean, and Spotify, so we can continue to deliver our expert-led content directly to you. Follow us on X at VJOncology and join in the conversation, and visit VJOncology.com for the latest updates in the field.